Double Dipping.
Welcome back to Double Dipping, the podcast that's so good. You're always coming back for more. Today's guest, you might recognize his voice if you've been watching some of the gaming videos. We have with us today MechaMurf, Matthew.
The one and only, the kid, the guy, the 15 kill streak Valorant player. It's me.
It's Matt. Matt, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me last night at
It wasn't last night.
It was kind of last night.
It was kind of last
It was
night.
when Nick bailed.
Well, no.
You were hoping for Nick. Come on.
No, I
Everybody's hoping for
wanted
Nick.
both of you, but I didn't know when you got off work.
Yeah.
And then you were like, I got off work early. And then I was like, oh, shit, that's great. We could do a double episode. It could be you and Nick, because I've been wanting to do an episode with two people.
Yeah.
But then Nick bailed, so I was like, it's just going to be Matt. Which that's pretty sad. But, we're here.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. Now, as some non-audio listeners might say, we're not in the normal spot. Because I'm back home, not at my apartment.
We're not in the middle of nowhere, Nova Scotia.
Yeah, we're not in the middle of freaking nowhere. We're here. And so now it's not my kitchen table and a wall.
Yeah.
There's there's actually some stuff to look at. We have I put some thought into the set design here.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, I've set out some things, and I know a lot of people, they really like seeing what we put in the cups that we're drinking. But because we're not, in my apartment, we don't have the white mugs.
Oh, are they usually clear?
No. But usually we'll put something in them, and then we'll talk about it, because we've had people bring drinks and
Okay.
remember spiced Coke? Remember that when that came out?
Yes.
So when that came out, I got a case, and
I should have bought cranberry ginger ale.
dude,
That would have been the stuff right there.
the cranberry ginger ale would have been great.
No, then it would have gotten really too real. I would have gotten emotional on the podcast, and I would have started talking philosophy and stuff. It would just be depressing. You'd have
Happy.
notes in your comments. It'd be bad.
But today we have the nice cozies and lukewarm Dr. Pepper in them, which is, as people know, Dr. Pepper is a wonderful beverage. It would have been a great opportunity actually to do the brisk iced tea. Have you been seeing those brisk iced tea ads?
No.
No. They're actually hilarious. I followed Brisk Canada.
See, if you're talking on, are you talking on YouTube? Because
No.
because I'm that guy at this point where I don't want to buy YouTube Premium, so I just refresh the page every time until there's no ad, and then I watch the video.
You just get an ad blocker, dog.
No, but that's a lot of work, right? Because then I gotta download something, and then it's an extra thing that I need to pay attention to.
Yeah, I had an ad blocker and then it stopped working, and then you have to go and you have to find a new one, and then that just keeps happening because YouTube's kind of a dick about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no. So these brisk ads it's some guy. He's hilarious, and basically the thing is it's brisk and cheddar cheese. That's the joke. Those are the two things. Cheddar cheese. Yeah, it's you've heard of chips and dip. You've heard of this and that, and he's like, now get ready for brisk.
Was that
cheddar cheese?
Was that chips and dip thing on purpose? That
what?
Well,
yeah.
You kind of let into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I see that.
The chips and dip. The dip that you brought, I've been waiting for this one. I've been waiting. This is episode 11.
Yeah.
And no one's brought this.
So yeah, because before coming here, I made sure that it wasn't a duplicate because I didn't want to be that guy.
That's fair.
Especially on 11, if it was 100 or something.
Yeah,
that'd be one thing. But I was kind of shocked that everybody went with these homemade things, and I'm like, bruh, Philadelphia did it for you.
I know. Now there's been some homemade stuff, but that's stuff that's a little bit different. That's a little bit out there, and I know some people who brought it. They were just like Kira. Essentially, half the time lives in my apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So her doing that and making a homemade dip was the easiest thing. And then for Jess's episode, which would have been episode 10, she works in a kitchen and came right from there.
Oh.
So she chefed up. But this dip, I'll say this is my favorite dip.
Yeah.
We
don't, at my house, we don't have any other ones except that.
This is the dip. Philadelphia urban spice dip. That is.
Yeah, so you hear chips and dip. I like chips with my dip when it's this. You know what I'm saying? Like the chip is secondary. This is what I'm eating.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm gonna try and not make a fool out of myself when I eat this. So.
I mean, this stuff is the best. Like out of all the dips that I've.
And then do you go with the Ruffles regular usually?
No.
What do you go with?
So we usually do Old Dutch lightly salted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always like the Ruffle chip. I don't know the waves. It's got rigidity. You know what I'm saying?
I will say the Ruffle chip is a little bit. It's got more structural integrity than an Old Dutch chip.
Yeah.
It's definitely it's got it. But then like Ruffle has their own dips, and like it feels weird to cross them up, right?
Yeah.
So usually that's where we go with the Old Dutch because Old Dutch doesn't make dips.
Let me see if I can like move this away without absolutely demolishing the sound on the mic.
Yeah, let's just.
Should I just like
Headphone
should I
users.
just, like, go for the pop? You know what I'm saying?
Go for the pop.
Yeah. Let's see if I can. Oh, that didn't work. I'm not gonna do that.
Not gonna go for it. I'm gonna crack the Dr. Pepper here.
Oh, we did. Oh,
Wait, hold on. I bet that sounded nice.
That's ASMR.
Yeah,
For free?
for free. I know.
For
I know.
free? I'm putting those down there. So, I don't know if you had specific topics planned for today.
I have a few things.
You had?
Yeah, I have a few things.
Because I have one thing that I want to hear your opinion on since we haven't actually talked about it since. Did you hear about the Xbox layoffs last week?
I saw that they said that they shut down the studio that made Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah. So, do you have an opinion on that?
Well,
as a PlayStation guy?
Well, I'm not necessarily just a PlayStation guy. Like, I love PlayStation games, and that's where I play my games. But there's a lot of Xbox games that I enjoy. Like, I have Hi-Fi Rush on my Steam wishlist right now.
Okay.
Like, it's like, there's a lot of games that are there that I want to play. Like, I played the multiplayer for Halo Infinite. I loved that. There's a lot of games that that come into the Xbox that I really like. But it's Microsoft that I'm not the biggest fan of, right?
Yeah.
Xbox is great. Microsoft is where I'm a little iffy, you know?
Yeah, so so obviously I've played on Xbox since
Long time.
since about 2012, okay? So
Since the 360 days.
yeah, so I've played. I'm not going to sit around and say like I've played games from all the studios that got shut down. I don't even fully remember all their names. I know the big ones were Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks, right?
Okay, so what did they make?
Tango Gameworks was Hi-Fi Rush. Arcane Austin, most recently was Redfall, but they're a better studio than that. They also made Prey and Prey Mooncrash. Prey Mooncrash is probably one of the best immersive sims on the market.
Okay.
They also made, I think Leon was the one that made Deathloop, but Austin made.
I've heard one.
But Austin made Dishonored and Dishonored 2, and they were actually pitching a new Dishonored game, either a reboot or a third one.
Nice.
When they got shut down, Tango Gameworks was pitching Hi-Fi Rush 2, and they got shut down.
Now, these people who worked at them, are they just like out of a job, or they've been redistributed throughout Microsoft?
It hasn't been fully confirmed. So one of the studios, it's the studio that made the Mighty Doom, which was it was on iOS.
The Doom mobile game.
Yeah, they got.
I actually played that. It was
they got
I
rolled
that.
into ZeniMax, I believe, to work on Elder Scrolls Online.
Right, that's a big money
I
maker.
don't know why I'm blanking on what the fourth studio was, because that one I forget the name, but that's what they made. They shut down Arcane Austin. They shut down Tango Gameworks, and for the life of me, I can't remember what the third one was, but it was a Bethesda studio. Doesn't matter. Anyways.
Man,
it does matter, but
yeah,
for the
does.
purposes. So they rolled one of them into ZeniMax Online, which just does Elder Scrolls Online, so, live service game makes money for them.
Yeah, and then if you're just wanting to make money, then you do that.
And then the rest of them, they shut down, just done. Like, to what I know and what the public knows is just they're all out of jobs.
Dang.
So, I think it's the biggest bullshit move that Xbox has ever done. So I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant here, okay? So for all the viewers out there, I apologize if you're not a video game fan, but this is what's gonna be. So this is what you're gonna hear for the next 10 minutes. Just adjust your ears to this shit, okay? So my 2 cents on it, right? Let's just start off with the fact that Phil Spencer said that they had to like reorganize the company and they were like doing budget cuts and all that. That's bullshit, okay?
Yeah.
Xbox, sure, it's third place in the gaming industry, but it's under Microsoft. Microsoft is a $3 trillion company, okay? So if you're telling me that your bottom line is hurting, fuck off with that, okay?
Isn't Game Pass like super profitable? Or fairly?
Allegedly, but that's kind of like, it's kind of being debated at this point because you're seeing some of these studios get shut down and like some indie studios have gotten fucked over because their games would have sold more if they hadn't gone with Game Pass, and it's a whole thing.
I have seen that. There's a game I played. It was RoboQuest.
Yeah.
Loved it. Roguelike shooter. Great game. I bought it on Steam, but it was on Game Pass. And I was like, well, that's great. Like, it's on Game Pass and more people are playing it, but they're not getting, like, that money. Mm-hmm. And, like, I got it because it was on sale on Steam. Like, they were, selling it out. Like, I don't know. It's rough.
Yeah. So... Yeah, but it has to be profitable to some extent. If it wasn't, they wouldn't keep doing it, and companies like Sony wouldn't have hopped on the wagon. And like
Sony has done a fucking terrible job with that. I haven't.
They have, but they're still making money off of it.
True.
If they weren't, they would have shut down already.
Exactly.
So
yeah, that's one thing that I think Sony should have just kept out of.
I think that Xbox really shot themselves in the foot with this. Aside from the fact that the money wasn't the problem, what they paid out to Bobby Kotick with severance when they fired him, which was basically just him running away with a bag of money, was enough to pay the salaries of every single employee they just laid off for the next 100 years. So just imagine that for a second.
Oh my
what
God.
They paid out to him, that one guy, could have paid all of these salaries for 100 years, and they said they didn't have the money to support it anymore. So that's bullshit right off the gate, okay? Then you've got people like Sarah Bond, who's like chief operating officer at Xbox or whatever, coming out and saying like, yeah, it was basically her response boiled down to, it was a lot of work to keep these companies running. That's what the money's for. That's why you as a fucking chief executive officer are getting paid like millions of dollars.
It's because they own too much.
Yeah, because Phil Spencer gets paid millions easily. Sarah Bond, I don't know if she's in the millions, but it's definitely $100,000 for the position she's in. Same thing with Matt Booty. Same thing with Aaron Greenberg. All right, all these top guys and girls at Microsoft, like, they're making a shit ton of money. That's what the money's for, is to keep these companies running.
Yeah.
Okay? So saying that it's a lot of work, quit your job then. Quit your job, save us $800,000, boom, we just paid off, like, I don't know, 10 staff for a year every time. That's like, I think Tango Gameworks is only like 50 people, so you just saved a fifth of that studio just off of that one job.
Yeah, but like, and if it's so foolish. Like, they go into these companies, they're like, we like those games, we're going to get this intellectual property under us. We'll have them for a while, we'll shut them down. And then we'll take it and we'll do whatever we want with it. We'll monetize it, whatever. Like, Xbox seems like they're just collecting nowadays. It doesn't seem like they're building anything new. And not to mention that Starfield destroyed them. Like, it was bad. I tried to play Starfield. I tried so hard, but it was just not good.
Yeah. So I find it funny, did you see the Matt Booty tweet then? If you're saying about, like, they thought the games were good and they didn't support them?
No.
Okay, so it's funny you say that. So the day after they shut down Tango Gameworks, and Tango Gameworks is the one that a lot of people are pissed about because they just made Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, Arcane Austin, they had it coming, Redfall.
Yeah,
I disagree with that. They didn't want to make Redfall. They said as much. And it was kind of Microsoft. Redfall was made in the era of Bethesda, where you got Fallout 76, Wolfenstein Youngblood, and Redfall, I guess.
Just a bunch of games that were just subpar.
It was the live service games that ZeniMax forced them into making, but none of them wanted to because it was the live service era, right?
Yeah.
So,
which I'm gonna say, live service games can be good.
It can be if you do it like Helldivers, but even Helldivers almost... Did you see the Helldivers?
Dude, Helldivers almost destroyed
Sony
themselves.
Sony almost took a 12-gauge shotgun and put it in their mouth with that one.
Dude, they almost messed up really, really bad on the Helldivers. And if they didn't retract what they were going to do, Helldivers was done.
Yeah, and their community manager got fired by Sony.
Yeah, as he should. It's like the worst call ever. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. Like, if they were going to have it so that you needed to have the Sony account in the first place, they should have never sold the game in the regions that couldn't have Sony accounts.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
mean they knew, like they said,
they
like,
knew what they were doing.
They were like, oh, sorry. It was like the what is that where it's it opens the door and it's like the dude on the bed and he's like, oh, sorry. What,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
you don't know? Okay. I don't remember the meme, but basically it was, oh, it's from South Park actually. But yeah, basically they were like, oh, oopsie, and it's like, yeah, you knew what you were doing. You've been in this business since like what, the 70s, the 80s, like
They know what they were doing,
yeah.
and they just. But them changing it up and not doing that was the best thing they could have done.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyways, my rant wasn't fully over. So, beyond the fact that, like, shutting down the studios was bad, they also... So, rewind to, like, last year. Phil Spencer made a laughably bad comment that buying out Nintendo would be the crown jewel of his career, right? And everybody laughed at him because they're like, yeah, Nintendo isn't going to sell to you ever.
No, Nintendo won't sell ever to anyone.
Like, Microsoft made an offer to Nintendo, like, during the GameCube era or something. Nintendo literally laughed them out of the country. They laughed them out of the executive room, and they went home and were like, whoop, that's not going on. And it was like Bill Gates who was there trying to buy them out.
Yeah, but that's in the GameCube era. That is one of the worst eras for Nintendo.
They tried again in the Wii U era, and Nintendo laughed them out.
Again, bad era for Nintendo. Like, looking at them right now with the Switch,
yeah.
there's no way in hell you're going to buy Nintendo.
He made that comment, people laughed at him, but he has been trying to get into the Japanese market with, like, he's constantly going to Japan, worked his ass off to get, like, Final Fantasy 14 on Xbox, and like got the Persona games on Game Pass and all that stuff.
Which is great. It's a great market to be in.
Which is great, but you just shot yourself in the foot because you just showed the Japanese market that you're not serious about it because you shut down Tango Gameworks, which was your only Japanese-based studio.
Oh my god.
They bought them out with this deal and then shut them down within 2 years, and after they just released a critically acclaimed game, okay?
Hi-Fi Rush was up for Game Awards.
So if you're a Japanese studio and you were initially in talks with Microsoft, are you going to sign that deal now? Hell no. You like at this point, I'm not even sure you would want to port your game to it because one, it has a low install base, and two, they just spat in the face of the company they owned, who just released literally. It was nominated like at one game of the year in some personalized lists, and it was nominated for how many game awards? Like
it was nominated for all kinds.
It was like what, best visual, best audio. I think it had something for best action, not at the Game Award, but at another one.
From what I've seen, it's one of the games that I've been wanting to play for a while. It just I don't know, it's just out there.
So basically, the way I see what they've just done with rolling some of the studios into ZeniMax and all that. So I'm a Hellblade fan. Okay, I am recently a Hellblade fan with having played Senua's Sacrifice back in February, and I'm super looking forward to the game, which is coming out next week. If Ninja Theory isn't shut down within a year of that game coming out, whether it's a success or not, I'll consider it a blessing. Because Ninja Theory makes the type of games that they just shut down these 4 studios for making.
Wow.
So could you, and they're not putting much marketing pump behind the game. Like, there's no launch trailer out right now. It's a week away. They've put out a tweet that didn't have a link to pre-order that just said Hellblade May 21st with a shitty ass picture from one of the trailers that was like low res.
That's all.
And so I'm looking at this, and they're sending this game out to die. And I'm looking forward to it, and a lot of people are looking forward to it, but it's like, is Ninja Theory going to be around next year? Because this game, it's smaller scope, it's visually stunning, probably going to be a great game, could get nominated for Game Awards, like the last one did. But, Aaron, like Matt Booty just said, we want games like Hi-Fi Rush that get us prestige and awards and are smaller scope, but then you just shut down all your studios that make it. So it's like they're talking on both ends of the mouth, and I'm just concerned for the studios. Like, I love Obsidian Entertainment right now, right? Who make like Grounded, Outer Worlds. Pentiment was an outstanding game that I don't think got enough recognition. Coming out with Avowed this year, that actually looks a little bit rushed, but I hope it'll be good. Right now they're super focused on big budget titles. Is Obsidian just going to get rolled into Bethesda and be forced to make Fallout games because they made New Vegas back in the day? Like,
I feel like that stuff like that's going to happen more and more. We're going to get a new Fallout game. Your Fallout 5 or 6 probably, because 76. But that's going to come. The next 5 years there will be a Fallout game, especially with the TV show that's just come out. And I've seen bits and pieces of the show. It looks phenomenal. And like that's the sort of thing, like we're gonna see a lot more stuff of video games. It's changing so much, like it's gonna be building off of the other media. Like you'll like what happened with The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Like the show came out, and then what was it? When the show came out first, or did they remaster the game fucking again? But like,
I think they released the remaster around the same time as the show.
which is like crazy. Like
But it was well planned.
it's a PS3 game, man.
Yeah, but it was they made a like a crap ton of money off of the game because it came out with the show, right?
Exactly.
So like I'm not saying it was like a needed remaster, but you look
it makes sense.
Bethesda said publicly we wish we had a Fallout game right now cuz like have you seen the Xbox charts? Like Fallout 4 is still the most played game on Game Pass.
Well, I saw Fallout 4 just got a big update the other day. Well, not big update.
Yeah, did
it's
you,
just like,
did you see it? Did you see it pissed off the mod community?
dude, I saw that the modders were
It ruined the
pissed.
entire mod community.
But like, no, that's fair. Like, I know, I'm big into the mod community for Battlefront 2, and like that game's been dead for a while, and so like the modding community has like built up so many mods, and then they'll release like a patch, and it's like someone still works on this game, and then everyone's like, well, fuck.
That one guy who's in the office like, I hate these modders.
Like it's ridiculous. And like, mind you, that game has shit that needs to be patched, but like the mods patched it.
Yeah, the modders are
The modders got it. Like they did that shit 9 months ago. Where have you been?
They did that shit for free.
Like it's wild.
Because there was a huge Fallout, because it was Fallout London was like this huge mod that was scheduled to come out like a week after the patch came out, and they're now like they don't know when it's coming out because they don't know how much they need to rework on their mod, and I'm like, that is awful.
Like that's just messed up. Like I think, yeah, we'll get a Fallout game soon, and we'll get more TV shows about games, which I'm happy about. I would go nuts for a God of War game. Holy cow!
Yeah.
Not God of War game. Sorry, God of War TV show. It'll probably be Norse, but I hope it's Greek.
Who would you cast as Kratos?
Same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long
Because
as
if you see, he's fucking massive, and he's the voice, and you just got to paint him, and you're good to go.
Well, either paint him or do some like crazy CG stuff. It depends.
True.
Whatever looks better. You'd have. I mean, Sony has a very high budget for TV apparently. So
Yeah, I mean, The Last of Us was.
So I wouldn't like looking at how they did the. Are they technically considered zombies in The Last of Us?
Yeah, they're zombies.
The plants.
The
Looking at how they did the plants, they they know how to do CG apparently.
Yeah, they're zombies. Like as things are considered, they're mushroom infected humans, but they're zombies.
Yeah. So that. Anyways, the to close on my little like Xbox rant, we can still talk about some of the stuff, but to close on my being pissed off. Yeah. I saw a thing the other day that I think summed up really good, and it's that Microsoft or like Xbox is undergoing an Activisioning, where they got all these studios with all these great franchises, right? Mm-hmm. But you know how Activision used to do like Tony Hawk games, and you had like the Guitar Hero games, which fell off kind of for a reason. But like you had Spyro and Crash and all that stuff, and then by the time Activision got acquired, the Activision part of Activision Blizzard was Call of Duty. They had like 6 studios. You had Treyarch, Sledgehammer,
The amount of people
Infinity
who work on
Ward,
Call of Duty.
Beanox, Toys for Bob, Raven Software, like all these companies were on Call of Duty. And then Blizzard was Overwatch 2, which came out. We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, Overwatch
like
2.
World of Warcraft and Diablo, and
They just need to make a third one and fucking move on.
Like they haven't touched StarCraft, haven't touched Warcraft, other than that shitty remaster of the third game. So now you look at what Microsoft is doing, where I just said like I'm concerned for Obsidian. Are they going to be put on Fallout? My reason for saying that is in one of their comments they said we need more big blockbuster games, and you already see like Bethesda is Bethesda just going to turn into like Doom and Elder Scrolls and Fallout and then forget everything else?
Which are good franchises.
Which they're good franchises, but like
you got to do new stuff too.
If you don't inject new franchises, you die. Mm-hmm. What do you think happened to Sega back in like the 2000s? They had Sonic and that was it. And
they had some other
perished.
stuff, and then that's it. Like Sega still does like arcade stuff, but that's it. And arcade stuff is essentially dead.
Yeah.
Besides like casino stuff in Japan, which is like a whole other thing I learned about recently. Like it's fucking crazy. But like that's it. Like Sega just died.
Yeah.
Also, optical media killed.
There's already been kind of talk that the Series X is going to be like the last major generation that Xbox is going to be in, and they're going to go third party. And I didn't fully buy into that because, you know,
that would be
there was like leaks of like mid-gen refreshes, and if there was leaks, they were already working on new hardware. Seeing the way they're going now, I'm starting to believe it more and more, because
that would be insane.
Like you see, like they're pushing to get Game Pass on other platforms, and we know they
really.
Yeah, they're trying to get it on Switch and on PlayStation, and we know they're trying.
If Xbox Game Pass goes into those other things,
yeah,
why do you have a console?
Yeah, and like we know they lose money on consoles, right? Like you can't build a PC that has like the ability, like even though, you know, it gets memed on that like, oh, 4K is 30, but like build a PC with a monitor that can run 4K 30, or in some cases 4K 60 for games.
Yeah.
And make it $600, right?
So
they're losing money on this, but they make it up on Game Pass and game sales and all that stuff. So, and then you see them now putting Grounded and Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves on other platforms. And you start to look, and it's like, hey, maybe the reason they bought Activision is so that they can kind of take that place in the market. But then that concerns me, because it's like you're trying to make the number go up, and smaller games, you need smaller games because they foster creativity.
Yeah.
If you're looking solely at we need to make profit, well, what's going to make you profit? Well, Call of Duty, Overwatch, actually maybe not Overwatch, but like Call of Duty, Halo still makes money. Yeah. And you look at also like who they're shutting down. They're shutting down Tango Gameworks, who made this great game. What the fuck is going on with 343? They fumbled the bag with your biggest franchise 3 times in a row, and they're still kicking. And I'm not advocating for like studios to get shut down, but what's the mentality there? Is it just because they're the ones that do Halo, and Halo makes money regardless of how bad it is when it comes out?
Yeah, like you can't just be like, these are the guys who've always done this, but it's like, yeah, but when these guys are doing other stuff better than you've doing the stuff that you've already done, and they're doing similar stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, pass it around.
Yeah, so the Coalition, Gears 5 came out when? Like 2018, I think. There's nothing planned for Gears right now, and allegedly they've been fumbling around with a collection for the past 6 years, not even a new game. It's just a Master Chief collection for Gears, and they can't fucking get it out the door. So it's like, you know, the Perfect Dark game. I don't even know who's working on Perfect Dark right now, but there's a Perfect Dark game that got announced in 2017. Like, that team's still kicking, but it's like these franchises that they probably think can make them money. So I don't know. It kind of looks more and more like Microsoft wants to become third party and just put a shit ton into these AAA games that make money and can be live services and stuff, rather than smaller projects, which you need to stay, like, to have a healthy community. But I don't know, it looks more and more like the industry is shifting towards those smaller titles being only indie games,
which isn't great.
And I think that that's a really big misstep, because, you know, Lethal Company outsold Call of Duty this year.
Yeah.
It was built by one dude, small ass title, but guess what? It was made by a gamer for gamers, sold like friggin' hotcakes. That dude's cooking.
The advertising for Lethal Company, there is no advertising for Lethal Company. It's people who play Lethal Company.
Like Content Warning, same thing, made by like 10 dudes, I think.
Yeah, that's Landfall Games. Yeah. There's just an indie studio. I mean, those are the same guys who they made Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, like all those games.
Yep.
And they make great games, but they're an indie studio.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, so far, like, I think one of the highest selling games this year as well is like Pacific Drive on Steam. Like it like indie titles sell well, but AAA studios are just so focused on massive profit, and they're letting so it's like the whole don't let perfect get in the way of good, but it's like don't let massive profit get in the way of good profit. But these companies are still so focused on, you know, back in 2020, everybody's locked in their house, sales went way up, and now they're still trying to make that number go up.
That'll never happen.
Even though the number of people who are playing games is like maybe a quarter of what it was 4 years ago, because people are outside now.
It's crazy. Like, I think big game studios have also just been kicking themselves in the teeth. Like, Rocksteady?
Oh, fuck me.
So I played Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
I played the first bit of it before Joker came out. And then, what is it? I went away for Easter, and then I never touched it again. Even though Joker was out, and I can go and I can get Joker, and...
Wasn't it like you had to play an absurd amount of time to get him, though?
You did, yeah. which is why I never got back in to play it. And the time I played with that game, I really enjoyed. I had a lot of fun, but it was missing something.
Yeah.
Especially when apparently the Joker stuff doesn't even have much of a story to it, and just sucks. But like, they do that, and then there's that new Arkham game coming out, right? But it's a VR title.
You know, so
Now, Arkham VR, the original one,
sick.
is good.
It does look sick, but yeah,
people don't want a VR game.
VR can do really well, but it's just such a small market. But I do think there is a place for VR games. It's just you don't want to make them big budget games because you're not going to make that level of profit back.
Like, when did Arkham Knight come out?
Ooh,
Like a long.
was that the one with the car?
Yeah.
2015, I think.
Yeah.
There's a lot, like, because, well, so...
Like, Arkham Knight came out a long-ass time ago, and that was their last big game. And since then, all they've made for the Arkhamverse is Suicide Squad. And now they're going to pump out this new Arkham game. People are like, finally, an Arkham game. We didn't really like Suicide Squad. We want more Batman. And it's VR. Not only is it VR, it's exclusive to the Quest 3.
Yeah.
So then now, not only are Rocksteady trying to get even more of your money, you're also in with Meta, which is... That's another friggin' thing.
Yeah, well, Meta... I don't know how much money Meta has in reserve, but, like, aren't they billing... Haven't they burned through, like, $1 trillion or something already?
Because they're doing stuff that they think people will like, but they don't actually understand human beings.
But, like, I get the Zuck is kind of Android-y, but, like, at what point do you realize, oh, my bottom line dropped by, like, the GDP of a major country this year? Like, at what point do you say, wait a second, this isn't working, we need to do something else? I get executives are typically dense as a friggin' mahogany log, but still.
Like, it's messed up. And, like, I've been thinking a lot, like, VR is great. VR is a lot of fun. The Quest, under Oculus, the original Oculus Quest, wonderful. Great idea. But then you have it linked to all this meta stuff, and you can't do any mods, and you can't link it. But if you could do that, the Meta Quest would be the perfect VR headset.
I wonder if Steam will ever put out a VR headset.
Well, they have the controllers.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll do the headsets because other people do the headsets better, but their controllers are the best controllers.
Yeah.
But Steam's gotten pretty good at the hardware stuff.
Well, I mean, yeah, seems how, like, what was it?
Do you remember the Steam machine?
Oh, fuck. The Steam machine.
They've come a long way from the Steam machine.
The little train that couldn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, what impressed me was they released like a cheaper version of the Steam Deck that was basically a Steam Deck 2.
Yeah.
Like last summer, and because I remember looking at something and people were like, oh my god, this is like best thing since sliced bread. I was like, wait, what? I'm like, it's just a Steam Deck with like some upgrades, isn't it? And then I actually like looked at a breakdown of it. I'm like, wait a second.
It's a better Steam Deck.
Yeah, and they charged the same as the original Steam Deck and made the original Steam Deck cheaper. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I know. Genius move.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do wish that back when Chris Judge gave his Game Awards speech, I was in the contest for Steam Decks, because I was initially like, wait a second, I don't, like, there's only going to be so many given away, and then I was like, oh my god, that man by himself gave away 10 of them.
I know.
I think the only reason his speech ended was because friggin'
Valve was like, hey, whoa, we don't have that many Steam Decks.
I think Gabe was in the wing about to friggin' RKO him off the stage.
Man, that... I want another God of War game just so that man can do another speech. That's all I want.
I mean,
man,
there'll be another God of War game, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know who it's going to follow, if it's going to follow Kratos or if it's going to follow Loki. But
I don't know. I don't know how it ended.
Basically it just ended with Atreus. They defeated Odin and he fucked off and he was like, I got to go find more giants. I want to know more of my people. So I'm going to go. And so he goes, and then Kratos accepts himself as the God of War, finally, but for the 8 realms, not 9, because they destroyed Asgard.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's very open. You could go, you can go with Kratos, but he would have to leave the realms. Or if you go with Atreus, he's literally already off doing some shit. So
I mean, if you're releasing a game called God of War, I think it has to follow a God of War.
that is true.
You know,
But it doesn't need to be called God of War.
yeah. Or I don't know. You can call I feel like if they're gonna do anything, it might.
He's not the God of Mischief. It's like, it's not quite the same thing.
It could be like an Uncharted: The Lost Legacy kind of thing, where it's like a spin-off of a character instead.
I think it will be like a spin-off game, and then Kratos will come back and do it, and then they'll go with Kratos from there. Like, I think he'll get like one.
Those games made too much money for Sony to just be like,
oh no, like, and when they released the free DLC like a year after release, God of War Valhalla was sick. Yeah. Like, it was a lot of fun. Man, video games, man.
Yeah, it's the people who say that like it's still just like a hobby medium. I don't think they understand how much money is in the industry.
Yeah, like there's so much money, and it's not just like a, you know, people always think of like just like a Mario, like a mindless whatever, and then I go through and I'm telling my parents what a game I'm playing, and they're like, that's happening in the game you're playing. I'm like, this is a story driven, like, dramatic ass game. Like, Jedi Survivor was like a story driven, crazy dramatic, like, that kid, holy shit, like, it was fucked.
Yeah, so my dad once watched me try and, well, not try, I was doing the raid, but he watched me raid in Destiny. And I think the poor man almost had an aneurysm.
Some of those games, I was losing my shit playing Suicide Squad sometimes. Like, because it's just, there was so much going on.
Yeah. Yeah, how do you think GTA does when it comes out next year? Do you think it lives up to the hype?
No.
I don't think it does.
I really don't think so.
So I think it's going to be a really good game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's going to friggin' bomb as far as, like, user reviews are going to go. Because I swear to God, some people think this game is going to be, like, the second coming of Christ, to put it gently.
Like, no, people are going to lose their shit about this game. Like, they have been for the last, like, 10 fucking years.
Yeah.
And it's going to be just another GTA. Like, it's not going to be
No, like, I think it'll be an evolution, I think. Like, I don't think, like, Rockstar's shown they can make good games. Like, Red Dead 2 is phenomenal.
Red Dead 2 is an incredible game. I think what they need to do is make a Red Dead show.
Dog. So, literally, if they do a Red Dead show, though, they have to use the same actor as the voice actor. I don't remember. I think the character was partially modeled after him too, at least partially.
That's the smart thing to do.
But if it's anybody else,
unless you're fucking
if
Insomniac.
you're taking Arthur Morgan, mind you, it could be somebody else because we know how Arthur's story ends and stuff. And same thing with John, but I don't know. You could do
literally just do the game, like literally pull The Last of Us.
Well, I think
literally just do the game.
Well, I think you could do because Red Dead 1 and 2 are both after whatever happened in Blackwater, right? So I think like when they lost the money and stuff.
I'm not very familiar with the story.
Okay, so Red Dead 2 is the prequel, and it starts with the gang like fleeing from Blackwater and like going to hide out, and then like stuff happens, people die, friends are made, we live and we.
It's a cowboy story.
Yeah. So and then Red Dead 1, you play as John Marston. And he basically has to go and kill the members of his gang because of what happened in Blackwater, and they tracked him down and everything, and he has to go and kill the gang and all that, and then, yeah. Spoiler alert for, 16-year-old game. I'm not that sorry. Like, John dies at the end, too. Because, you go out with a blaze of glory.
Yeah. You're a cowboy.
Yeah, so
how else do you go?
Everything, like, the entire story, like, starts after Blackwater, and a lot of what happens is because of Blackwater, but we don't, at least to my understanding, we don't ever actually see what happened in Blackwater. So I think having the gang with that would be a really cool TV show.
I think the show, that would be really good.
Now, they might be doing, like, have plans for Red Dead 3 in that time, but...
They should really just call it Red Dead Blackwater. Like...
Go back in time with every Red Dead.
Never actually make a Red Dead that's, like, in the future, just like keep going back.
Yeah.
It's like, you want to play the Red Dead games?
It's the
chronologically, you pay them backwards. There's like, it's not even like there's one in the middle anywhere. It's just directly backwards.
Oh wait, you thought Star Wars was bullshit?
Star Wars is like, and then here and here and here and here and here. And Red Dead's like, it goes this way.
So basically, we're gonna just go that way.
Yeah. So you see how the way you have your games lined up from
Dude,
1
it's
to
the
6 right now? You're gonna want to do 6 to 1.
It's the Michael Jackson trilogy. Just moonwalk that bitch.
just goes.
Just go backwards.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So
It was like, why did the quality keep going down game after game? It's like, well, it's because they're fucking stupid.
yeah. So, anyways, I also haven't talked with you about this since it came out. I mean, we talked about it briefly.
Yeah.
But the Bad Batch.
Oh my God.
Like, I mean, that was like a week and a bit ago.
About a week ago, yeah.
Yeah. So
No, it's like 2 weeks ago.
I guess it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the things I had down to talk about was
Yep.
was Bad Batch and what Star Wars is doing right now. And I mean, I really like Bad Batch,
Yeah.
and the way it ended, I liked it. They we're doing Bad Batch spoilers.
Came out 2 weeks ago. Everybody who cares watched it, and if you don't actually care. You just tell yourself you do.
And I know Murray's been rewatching Bad Batch, so just fuck off.
Fuck you, Murray.
Hey, whoa.
Hey, you?
No.
You, right
No,
there?
no, no.
Right there? Editor.
Wait,
editor.
I'm the editor.
Zoom in right here.
Oh
Right
my
here.
God.
Right here. Murray, go watch it. All right? Okay, we're good.
So, it was great. I loved it. They didn't kill anybody. They just ended the show. Tech actually is dead.
Dude, I mean, I know deaths are, like, not that important in
It's
Star
Star
Wars
Wars,
these
and he
days.
fell down a hole. You think he's going to come back. That's the Star Wars thing. You fall down like a cavern or a hole or something in
Most of
Star
the time,
Wars.
it's a Jedi that falls, right?
That's true. Mace Windu's alive. Mace Windu's
I mean,
alive.
yeah. Samuel Jackson said he was.
Exactly. You got to listen to Samuel Jackson. And
You can't tell me that Mace Windu, who was like the most powerful Jedi of his time, like at least combat wise and strength wise, you can't tell me he's the only dude who didn't survive. I don't give a shit. He got electrocuted beforehand.
he's alive.
Like,
He's alive. You know how high up that is? He could have been passed out for 2 minutes, wake up, and he'd still be falling.
oh yeah,
Like, Mace Windu's alive, and I hope to see him in the third Jedi game. Mm-hmm. That would go crazy.
see him in there or like, I don't know, anywhere else.
Kenobi wants a second season, which would be great because
I
I
want to
think
see a Kenobi second season because I think it would be what I wanted the first season to be.
what like other Jedi, Quinlan Voss.
Well, yeah, but like you saw, like Liam Neeson has said he's fine taking back the role, right, for Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
like,
yeah, because that's what Kenobi was supposed to be.
What I thought Kenobi was going to be was him learning how to become a Force ghost.
Which
Like,
is
become one with the Force, right?
it's what they did at the very end. It's what they sprinkled throughout the show.
Yeah.
Which is totally setting up a second season, even though they didn't plan to do a second season, which could just be bullshit.
Which I think that is bullshit because you don't end it with Liam Neeson showing up and being like, "Sup, dude," and then you're like, "Yeah, that's all we got."
Especially
him for."
because Liam Neeson was saying like, "Oh, I'm not gonna come back. I'll do a movie. I won't do a show. Blah 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 blah." And then you had him in Kenobi, and then you had him do the voice for a short in Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson is gonna come back as Qui-Gon. And if he doesn't, like, I don't know what they're doing over there. Like, Dave, you've fumbled the bag.
But yeah. So
Dave Filoni. I'm speaking to only Dave Filoni.
I'm sure Dave watches.
Yeah, Dave. Dave is an avid fan.
He's one of the few dozen viewers right now.
Yeah.
Let's go, Dave.
Fucking Liam Neeson. Get someone good to play Quinlan Voss. Get Samuel L. Jackson back. Let him say motherfucker. Just let him do it.
I mean,
And then, like, I don't
they
know.
could have had one F word in Revenge of the Sith, and they chose not to.
It's when he goes out the window, just motherfucker, right out as he falls out the window.
Could you imagine it's actually buried in the audio somewhere?
I
Like as Anakin
There's-
is like,
you
as
has
Anakin
to.
is like, what have I done? And just like, if you like zoom in really close, there's like a crunch
You
dialogue
just see
thing.
him,
it's
like,
just,
falling.
"Motherfucker."
Oh my god. Like, I want to see... So, Tales of the Empire came out as well. You watched that. You liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I liked it as well. I saw some people shitting on it, but it worked really well. So, Morgan Elsbeth's story, I found that was really cool. People said the episodes were too far apart in time. I think that's dumb. She was in 3 eras. They did it in 3 eras. It's exactly what you needed to do. Clone Wars, Empire, and then...
Yeah.
What you have her in the sort of Mando era.
Yeah. So, I only had one problem with Tales of the Empire. and that's that I'm starting to see, because I'm reading through the Thrawn books right now, right? And I'm starting to see like a bit of a weird scenario where I don't know what the plan is with Thrawn, because Thrawn in all of the books. How many of the books have you read?
2.
Which ones?
The second one of the first trilogy and the first one of the second trilogy.
Okay, so you haven't read Treason.
No.
So Treason to me is the most important book for Star Wars all stop, because it shows a lot of what was happening within the Empire and even the relationship between the Empire and the Chiss Ascendancy,
Which is a massive group.
Yeah. Well, they only ever interacted with Arlani and the Vigilant, right? And like Eli Vanto and all that, who fucking Disney bring him to live action or animated. That's one of the most underused characters ever.
I think he'll. I think he was. My guess is he was on. No, he wouldn't have been on Thrawn's ship.
Yeah. So I'm hoping. So, anyways, yeah. So Thrawn in all of the books isn't the dude that wants to take over the Empire. He's the dude that wants to defend the Chiss Ascendancy all stop. So would he want to take over the Empire to get to that goal? Maybe. But like
I think he's gonna...
Disney is starting to kind of show him as like being okay with a lot of the stuff the Empire is. Like they showed it in Ahsoka and like with some other stuff where like he's kind of embracing like bad stuff. And like in the books, like he kind of openly defies the Emperor and Vader, and the only reason he gets away with it is because he's an asset to them.
Yeah,
he's
like Thrawn.
You know, we hear like in one of the books they save like slaves of the Empire, but then they end up returning them to slavery to the Empire. And like Eli is like, that was kind of fucked up, and Thrawn's like, yeah, it was, but we need to do it because that's what our orders are. But you can tell he doesn't agree with what the Empire's doing.
I think 10 years on a fucking planet in the middle of nowhere has done something to a man.
Yeah, but also, like, so what I was saying with Tales of the Empire is, like, you see when he's, like, freshly just, like, an admiral and he recruits Morgan Elsbeth, and he's kind of like, yeah, like, you want power, come to the Empire, like, we'll give it to you, we'll stomp out this rebellion. And it's like, I know he's, like, I'm assuming that this is because of the naivety of his political abilities, because he's a dumbass in politics, and he probably just doesn't understand that, hey, this Empire isn't, like, for lack of a better word, legal. Like it was forged in war and deception, and he doesn't understand that, and he just thinks, oh, like this is my best chance to defend the Ascendancy is to form an alliance with this thing because it runs the galaxy. But then you get to Ahsoka, and it's like, well, now that the rebellion has taken over, and clearly now you can see, unless he still thinks, oh, this was a coup, and like I need to return it to the original state because he doesn't understand that like that's the dynamic. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what they do with him.
Yeah, like Thrawn, I feel like doesn't have a full grasp as to what is happening in the galaxy when he comes back. And, like, he just doesn't fucking know what's going on.
Yeah, so, I mean, there is the potential for some cool stuff, because the Ascendancy, like, greater good and lesser evil, the whole thing is, like, the Grisks are trying to take down the Ascendancy from within and without by sowing deception stuff, so maybe he thinks that's what's... Because we see that he sees Grisks in lesser space in the mainline books, like not the Ascendancy series. So maybe he thinks that they've done that here, and that's what the rebellion is, and like that's why he's trying to fight it back. So I'd be curious to see if that's what it is, because if that's the case, then it opens up the ability that like my whole thing was how do they beat Thrawn? Because if you if you do it in a tactical way, it's like, well, that undermines his entire character. Like, the dude is the best tactician in the world.
Exactly, they don't beat Thrawn.
So you only beat him in a political aspect, or you make him realize that he's fighting for the wrong side, and that the rebellion wants to have an alliance with the Chiss Ascendancy, and then he would chill out.
By the end of whatever they're doing, the Chiss Ascendancy will be part of the New Republic.
Yeah.
Shaky terms,
or at least allied with it, because the Chiss Ascendancy doesn't even like each other. Okay.
No, that's true. Like they're allied, and like there's Chiss who work with the New Republic, and some people from the New Republic who would work with the Chiss, but like it's not the way that we see it now, and I think it's gonna come to that, and you're gonna see that your true actual enemies isn't gonna be Thrawn. You're gonna see more of the people who are like sort of your Knights of Ren or whatever the fuck. Like, I say Ray Sloan. That doesn't seem right.
I don't know. There's like the 3 split offs, right?
Yeah, so there was whatever the fuck Moff Gideon was doing. Thrawn, in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Well, now we know.
And then the people who became the first
Now
one.
we know Moff Gideon kind of seems to have gone with Necromancer. With like, he seems to have had like.
Yeah, no,
we hear
he
them talk.
definitely-
We hear them talk about Necromancer. And
They talk about Project Necromancer and Bad Batch. Clearly, Project Necromancer is the plan to have a way to resurrect the Emperor.
Yes.
They never say that, but like, fucking come on.
What does a Necromancer do?
Exactly.
You played Diablo. You click 4 and skeletons spawn.
Exactly. That's Necromancer, and you see that with the skeletal weird ass fucking creatures that is like Snoke.
Yeah.
And exactly, they're trying to get the M counts up, the Metachlorians. They want a force sensitive clone, which is what they need for the Emperor's spirit to embody.
Yeah.
So fucking do that. I mean, I hoped it was going to be Starkiller. The entire show I was like, Starkiller. Give us Starkiller.
No, they
won't.
If they bring him into canon, like
I know.
if you bring him into canon, it needs to be like way past the Skywalker saga or way before. Because if you bring him right in the middle, then it's like, where the fuck was that guy the whole time?
I think the only way that they could do it is if it's like a weird World Between Worlds thing, or because that's the other thing. I rewatched the Mortis arc,
Yes.
and the Mortis arc is actually a lot more important than I thought it was. Rewatched it and really listened to the words that the father in particular was saying, and it's a lot of your galaxy, your galaxy, your galaxy, which is like, oh, okay, so technically, I got this today. Hold on.
Oh.
I got it at the comic book store. I thought it was sick. It's a
Oh.
engraving of the Star Wars map.
Yeah.
But, technically, it's... Here, I was going to hold this up for our viewers. Technically...
Can they see it from all the way back here?
Big circle up here, that's Mortis.
For audio listeners, he's pointing at the top of the circle.
So they're all the way up here in the unknown regions, right? Which is like... That's cool. Let's just say, for argument's sake, the galaxy they were going up is all the way up here, above the circle.
Yeah.
So if they come down, they don't feel like they're part of this other big galaxy. They feel like they're in their weird ass fucking rhombus over here.
Uh-huh.
But like that's where they're at. So if the gods of Mortis are all separate, and there's those statues of the gods of Mortis on the planet that they're on at the end of Ahsoka in the other galaxy, that seems to be where they're from, where the Night Sisters are from. This is where all this other weird Force shit that we see the daughter and the son and the father do, all this stuff. I think that's the next big thing for Star Wars, and I think that our next enemy isn't going to be Thrawn. It's going to be the son.
Mm.
Because Ahsoka has the spirit of the daughter in her, kinda. And, like, the father... I don't know, the father...
Well, I mean, what's his face at the end of Ahsoka? You're literally sitting on the father's hand.
That's true. Balin Skull could be the father. Now, unfortunately, he died.
Yeah.
Which really sucks. I loved his character. It's one of my favorite characters in the last little while.
I'm pretty sure that Lucasfilm already said they were gonna recast, though. Like, not, like, out of necessity, not because they want to.
Like, you need to. Because if they're doing what I hope they do with the character, which is to make him the balance.
Yeah.
Like, I hope they do. I hope they really get into, looking at what the balance of the Force actually means. Because they always say, like, oh, the Republic ruled the Jedi. And it's like, oh, Anakin, you're supposed to bring balance to the Force. Why are you helping the Sith? It's because the Force isn't in balance. We're in the light. We need to have dark with the light. And you actually, when the Force is in balance, is actually in the sequels.
Yeah, so what do you think they do with Hayden Christensen right now?
Hayden Christensen, I think they keep getting him to play Vader. and they have him be his Force ghost.
Do you think
Anakin.
that they do something live action Clone Wars?
I'd
With,
love
like,
them
him
to.
and just because like they kind of flexed like, yeah, we've got him and we've got a Rex costume over there and we got little Ahsoka that works, and they were kind of like, it was almost a tease, even though I know it made sense self-contained, but it was also like, you know,
Self-contained, it did make sense.
you just threw up, here's the 3 things that we need for this. Like, I'm wondering if they
would lose it. I would love to see Clone Wars live action content,
especially with how good of a reaction it got, though.
Oh, I got a
because that episode, ask anybody in that episode, was the highest rated.
But who are you going to get to your clones? Are you going to get it to be Tamora Morrison or is it D. Bradley Baker? That's your biggest question.
Ooh,
because Tamora Morrison cannot wear the clone costumes. He's too big.
But who voiced because we heard Rex talk in the scene, didn't we? Who voiced? Wasn't it?
It probably would have been
Tamora Morrison.
Would have been. He also played that.
You don't need him in the suit.
No, like, you just need to do the voices because D would do the same.
And then like if they have their helmets off, just close up so you don't see that like he's in a different, bigger suit.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to keep it consistent. Like to, if it's live action, I feel like it has to be Tamora Morrison.
You know, I think if they do anything, I was gonna say these unfinished Clone Wars arcs, but then you got to think about like what they have is you have Crystal Crisis, which they kind of adapted into Rebels, which is like the big Kyber crystal that they're tracking down to power the Death Star. And then you also have the Dark Disciple, which was the book. And I don't think they'll do that. Fuck, they might. Oh my god, it would make so much sense if they do, because they've been... I think they'll expand on it because of the Ventress showing up in the Bad Batch. And like, kind of makes sense, because they threw her in the pool at the end of that book, which is like the pool of life on Dathomir. So like, yeah. But
I'm also, how do you think what are your thoughts on the Acolyte that's coming out in
I'm excited.
3 weeks?
I have been excited for the Acolyte for years. I've read a lot of leaks about it. I know a lot of stuff. The fact that they haven't revealed the fact that that there's twins in the show yet is crazy to me. There's that one leaked poster that literally has 2 of the same actor in different clothes, like obviously 2 different people, and the fact that all the trailers they've released so far have just ignored that is crazy. But yeah, I'm super excited. It's supposed to have Plagueis in it. Yeah.
Is it supposed to have Plagueis?
Yeah. So the thing is what's supposed to happen is it's supposed to be essentially there's twin sisters, and there's this one guy and he comes. Anyway, they go to all these different planets. They go to the so and then there's this other it's called the Alkalite because the main character, the Alkalite, because this is only 100 years before the Phantom Menace.
Okay, yeah.
So this is gonna be like
it's Disney like dipping their toe into like, what if we go backwards?
What if we go? Well, because they are though. They are going 25,000 years back.
Yeah, who's doing that again?
I can't remember, but I remember thinking he was good. For some reason, I want to say he did Ant-Man, but that seems very wrong.
Yeah, I'm well. Once I'm finished with Lesser Evil, I'm planning to go back and start reading the High Republic books.
I've read the first one and it was great. I think it takes a really good approach as to explaining a lot of fundamental concepts, because they explain the Force really well with how it feels different for each Jedi. Mm-hmm. And they also explain hyperspace, which that's one of my biggest things in Star Wars. It's like, oh, we're going to light speed. No, the fuck you're not.
You are going well beyond light speed.
You're going well beyond light speed, because when they go to hyperspace, they go into like a different plane, like it's sort of like a different dimension, and then they zoom through that shit, and then they come back. And it's a cool connection. It has the people who are like the holders of all the hyperspace stuff is the Santeca clan, that's the guy at the start of The Force Awakens who like has part of the map to Luke Skywalker is Lord Santeca. So it's cool how they're like doing a lot of connections and stuff, and it seems, I don't know, it's a really good idea.
Yeah. My wish list for the Acolyte is very simple. Good lightsaber battles. This is supposed to be like the Jedi at like the height of their power.
Peak Jedi, yeah.
And if you have somebody like Plagueis who's teaching Sith, that should be the Sith very close to peak
Plagueis
power.
isn't, he's a learner.
Oh, he's a learner in this.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But okay, so regardless though, like they should be pretty potent fighters.
It's true.
Regardless of power.
Also, I'm going to call it now. His master is going to be the same species as the Cantina band players. Biff. They're going to be the Biff. That's what he's going to be.
Swear, fuck.
That's what he was in Legends. Plagueis' master was Biff. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm hoping they do. I mean, completely understandable if they don't do that. That is a goofy looking guy. But like, yeah.
I'm just like trying to picture that dude force choking somebody.
Then he just pulls out his little horn to doot, 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 like just starts playing a tune.
The lights never comes out the end of it.
My God, did you see that they're actually doing official Darth Jar Jar? Like they're actually doing it.
Like merchandise?
Yeah, there's Lego sets. It is a Lego TV series.
I take this as confirmation from Disney.
It is a Lego Star Wars TV series where
I saw the TV. Yeah, I didn't realize, I didn't watch the trailer fully through.
Okay, so like basically what happens is they like everything gets all fucked up and like the timeline and everything is just changed. So you have essentially there's like TIE X-Wings and like Jar Jar is a Sith and like there's like a dark Millennium Falcon and you remember I don't know if you were there, but in the old Lego Star Wars encyclopedia there was a guy who came with a gunship. His name was Jedi Bob. Do you remember hearing about this guy?
I own that encyclopedia, but I can't say I've looked at it in 10 years.
It is the only unnamed Jedi or Star Wars minifigure that they have ever released, right? He's just a generic looking guy. The people started calling him Jedi Bob. The encyclopedia called him Jedi Bob. Jedi Bob is in this fucking show.
Of course.
We're getting Jedi Bob Starfighter Lego set. And I'm like actually so excited because I remember Jedi Bob and thinking that's hilarious. Like I always wanted the original Jedi Bob minifigure, but like they're bringing him back.
You'll have to see it. Do you think Omega is going to be a live action adult in Skeleton Crew? Have you seen those tin foil hat theorists?
I know. If she's in anything, I don't think she's going to be in Skeleton Crew. I think it is way too soon after the end of the Bad Batch. And if I had to guess, based on how old Hunter looked in the prologue, or sorry, the epilogue of Bad Batch, when she goes off, I'm still thinking this is like before Rebels.
Well,
I think this is like about 10 years
she
after.
she looked what, early 20s probably at that point.
Right, which still would have been about 10 years.
Yeah.
So, because she's about...
Bad Batch, like most of it was like
She's about
within
12, 13.
Most of it was within like season 3 was within what, like a year or two from Order 66.
Yeah, it's about a year, yeah.
So
because Omega spent some fucking time on that planet. Like, people counted up the notches she had. It's like months and months. But, yeah. I think if she does show up, it's not going to be there.
I don't know.
What I hope they do is something with Ventress. Now that they confirmed her being alive, just to come in and
they
do something weird and then fuck off. Like, come on.
Yeah, for going through the work of having her be alive to do 10 minutes of screen time.
It's something that's beefed me. So, her lightsaber that she had in the Dark Disciple was... in the Siege of Mandalore, Darth Maul had his double-bladed lightsaber back. One side of it was the weird side that wasn't his normal one. That's Ventress's lightsaber. The one that she got off the black market in the Clone Wars. That's that. She had it yellow. He got it from her somehow, turned it red. She has a yellow lightsaber again, but it's her original lightsaber. How the fuck is it yellow? Because in Legends, whenever you bled a lightsaber, or healed it from being red, it turned yellow.
Mm-hmm.
But they made that white. So
Yeah.
I don't know where the yellow's coming from, which is I hope something they go into.
Honestly, as much as I hate to say it, probably an oversight.
No, I can't say it is an oversight. I think it's got to be intentional because Dave wouldn't do that. The lightsaber, the prop, the specifics, that stuff doesn't just go.
But I don't know. I'd like to think that Dave also wouldn't fuck up having Tarkin reroute all the funds to Stardust before he actually liked the project Stardust.
Yeah.
Unless he just oversight and like because it's a detail in the book that I mean it wasn't a throwaway detail, but it like unless you read that book, you don't actually fully understand when Tarkin decided to take over and actually like Stardust. Like you kind of see it in Rogue One that he like you only really see him show up when he's taking over the project, but you don't know that before that he was against it. But that's also why I say Treason is one of the most important books, is because Tarkin didn't like Stardust until pretty much when Thrawn went missing. And
right, and that's why the timeline doesn't line up at all, because Thrawn was still an admiral at that point, and it couldn't have been any time close to when those interactions.
I mean, at that point, with it being within a year of Order 66, I'm not fully convinced Thrawn was in lesser space yet.
No, he wouldn't be.
Because when he shows up in the first Thrawn book, the Empire is like well established at that point.
Yeah, I think there's a comic that definitely answer this question, and I don't know what it is, because like there's comics that show like Thrawn with his long ass hair and he's like the fucking homeless looking man, and the Empire's like, I like this guy.
Oh, when he's on the planet deserted.
Yeah. But like, there's like I have a panel in my head and he's like standing before the Emperor and he just looks just fucked up.
Yeah.
And the Emperor's like, no, I kind of fuck with this guy. But this has to be much after that, so yeah, I don't know. And then this is only a year after Order 66. Stardust. Tarkin's probably there on some pretty specific orders, though. Like...
Yeah, but...
No, because he wouldn't be on the orders from the Emperor, because the Emperor's priority would have been Project Necromancer.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have been the friggin' Death Star. It would have been, hey, I don't want to die. So, yeah.
Could have been on an order from Vader, but...
Was Vader in the dark?
About Necromancer?
No, he wasn't.
We don't know that for sure.
No, because we saw him on Exegol.
On Exegol?
Yeah.
When did we see him there?
There's a comic set between Return of the Jedi and... between Empire and Return of the Jedi. They're on Exegol. Vader's there. Luke's hand is there.
That's a weird keepsake.
Well, it's a wonderful source of midichlorians.
I guess so,
yeah. Which makes me think, like, that's fucking nuts. If they...
Wait, so Luke's hand survived that fall, but Mace Windu got fucked?
Yeah, Mace Windu's alive. Mace Windu's alive, and I think Disney has, like, a swear jar they have to save up to afford Samuel L. Jackson. Because, like, I imagine, like, Marvel's like, no, we have him. And they're like, yeah, but we need him. And they're like, nuh-uh. He's Nick Fury. And they're like, yes, but he's Mace Windu first. And, I think they're just waiting for a time to do a nice Jedi project where you can have a bunch of Jedi set during the Empire era.
Well, they are kind of building up.
Kenobi Season 2, baby. Kenobi Season 2. Force Ghost Qui-Gon.
I swear to God, if I see Cal Kestis in Kenobi Season 2,
I'll lose it.
You.
Give me Cal Kestis with the man bun.
With the poncho.
With the poncho. It's not even Cal, it's just Cameron Monaghan.
Just in the script, poncho guy.
Yeah. Quinlan Voss. She's alive. What else is MIA? Oppo Rancis. He was missing after Revenge of the Sith. But he's a big snake guy, so they probably tracked his ass down pretty simply. They're like,
Y'all
yeah,
see-
fucking, you're right there. You're not hiding.
Y'all see anything slithering around here?
Like, oh, you mean Oppo? He's like, dude. Man. Yeah.
Those what's or fuck from Tales of the Empire.
That Inquisitor? Mm-hmm. Nah. Well, they did make... because she did have her first appearance in Kenobi.
Did she?
Yeah.
Was she that one?
Yeah. She had her first appearance in Kenobi.
Okay. We have visitors.
We do have visitors now. Come here for a moment. Come sit.
Oh, I'm sitting. Oh, brother. I mean... I gotta have some of this. I guess I should introduce myself first.
No, you should.
Hello, I'm Nick. Anyways.
I spoke with Nick earlier. He couldn't make it earlier, which is fine. He'll hopefully get his own episode at some point.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming and sitting down. But this is the
And with that, we're going to wrap it
yeah,
up.
this is
Alright,
the end of
alright,
the
leave,
episode.
guys.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.